Assalamualaikum and good evening. You're now with me, Yusuf Shukri, for TVS Nightline. We begin with this story. The establishment of the Unit for Other Religions, UNIFOR, complex along Jalan Ong Tiang Sui in Kuching stands as a clear testament to Sarawak's dedication in strengthening social inclusivity and harmony among people of different faiths. Sarawak Premier Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng says the complex serves as a unifying platform, enabling open discussions and collective solutions in an atmosphere of mutual respect. And in relation to this, he stressed that the PCDS 2030 emphasizes inclusivity, embracing all and fostering cooperation across communities.
Under PCDS, we mentioned social inclusivity. In other words, you embrace everybody. And based on our common natural instinct that we respect each other, that lead to working together.
He also adds that UNIFOR acts as a convergence point where differences can be resolved through dialogue for the benefit of all.
Under UNIFOR becomes a convergence point. If there are differences, we talk together and find solution. I think problem definitely will be there, but solution must be found that will benefit everybody. Thank God, Sarawak is a convergent point to move Malaysia forward.
The iconic 80 million ringgit complex has also received Green Building Index GBI certification, reflecting Sarawak's commitment to sustainable development and green economy. The 10-story building houses offices, retail units, a conference hall, and multi-purpose spaces to support community activities. Its establishment is expected to further strengthen UNIFOR's role as a hub for social and interfaith engagement in Sarawak. The Sarawak government continues to strengthen the role of UNIFOR as a driver of harmony and community development, with a total of 685 million ringgit allocated since 2017. Sarawak Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Ugahamba says the allocation reflects the state government's commitment to safeguarding the welfare of houses of worship and multi-religious communities in a comprehensive manner.
He notes that UNIFOR's role has now expanded beyond developing religious infrastructure to also include efforts in strengthening education, particularly in mission schools in rural areas.
For 2026, this trustee will complement the role of UNIFOR in assisting mission school in Sarawak. We have 155 mission schools. A lot of them in the rural areas, and they need program to enable them to improve their performance, especially with your policy of free education untuk masuk in Sarawak universities. We thank you because this year you approved 30 million for mission school. UNIFOR will utilize the 30 million. And the charitable trust will work together with them toward promoting a better education for our students in the rural areas.
He also adds that UNIFOR is also actively organizing community programs that directly benefit multi-religious communities across the state. To date, a total of 26 programs have been implemented, with nearly 629,000 ringgit in funding, benefiting various religious institutions throughout Sarawak.
Efforts put forward to reach a peace deal for the ongoing crisis in West Asia are still being undertaken. But Tehran says none can be reached if threats and blockade continues. While this is happening, the White House experienced major emergency as shots were fired amid an official dinner ceremony. For more details, we have Nurul Atika Norman on the case.
Thanks, Yusuf. Before we go into details on the ongoing peace deal that seems to be more of a far-fetched thing at this rate, shots were fired at the White House while the correspondents' dinner was happening. Security forces immediately bounced to secure Trump while guests were led to safety. About 2 hours later, Trump held a press conference and states that the shooter was successfully subdued and held captive. He notes that the suspect shot a security officer but was unharmed due to the bulletproof vest. Later on, Trump uploaded a post on Truth Social showing a CCTV footage of how the shooter broke in and a clear photo of the suspect during arrest. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian says that Tehran will not engage in talks under pressure, threats, or a blockade, stressing that rebuilding trust requires ending hostile measures and guarantees against repetition. In a call with Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Pezeshkian said reaching common ground and creating a suitable environment for effective dialogue are essential for any progress. Pezeshkian stressed that halting hostile policies and ensuring they are not repeated are necessary conditions for resolving disputes. He also said increased military presence further complicates the situation and weakens the atmosphere needed for dialogue. At the same time, Pezeshkian states that the U.S. blockade aims to sow dissatisfaction amongst Iranians, as past negotiations had only deepened public distrust in Iran, while talk of dialogue alongside sanctions, pressure, and a blockade undermines confidence between the parties.
اینا زیرساخت ما رو زدن. ما رو در محاصره قرار میدن تا مردم ناراضی بشن و این رضایتی که الان وجود داره تبدیل به نارضایتی بشه. چطوری میتونیم جلوش بایستیم؟ اینکه ما اون زمینه‌هایی که اونا فکر میکنن باعث نارضایتی رو مردم اجازه ندن اصلا به وجود بیاد.
He also urged Iranians to reduce their energy consumption as they ready themselves for the inevitable on-ground war with the U.S. and Israel forces. Pressure to end the war has intensified as the Strait of Hormuz, a vital oil and gas route, remains closed. Iran's Powerful Revolutionary Guards, IRGC, says they had no intention of lifting their blockade, which has roiled energy markets. It further states that controlling the Strait of Hormuz and maintaining the shadow of its deterrent effects over America and the White House's supporters in the region is the definitive strategy of Islamic Iran. As we know it, the U.S. has imposed a blockade of Iranian ports in retaliation. In a statement carried by state media, Iran's military warned that continued U.S. blockading, banditry, and piracy would draw a response. And amidst the blockade at the strait, a tanker carrying United States U.S. oil arrived in Japan on Sunday, marking the first such shipment from the U.S. since the Iran war began in late February. According to Cosmo Energy Holdings, which procured the crude oil from the U.S., the tanker transported 145 million liters upon arrival in Tokyo Bay, equivalent to about half a day of domestic consumption. The U.S.-Israeli conflict with Iran has led to the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a key artery for global energy shipments. Japan relies on West Asia for more than 90% of its crude oil imports, most of which pass through the strait. The tanker departed Texas on March 22nd and transited the Panama Canal, which can accommodate smaller vessels. That's all the update for tonight. Back to you, Yusuf.
Thank you, Atika. Meanwhile, economists state Bank of England policymakers will, quote, almost certainly hold interest rates at 3.75% at their meeting next week, despite the Iran war pushing up the cost of living. However, a future interest rate increase could still be possible if firms and households continue to face inflationary pressure. The Bank of England's 9-strong Monetary Policy Committee, or MPC, will vote on whether to maintain, increase, or decrease its base interest rate on Thursday, April 30th. The bank will also publish its first full monetary policy report and set of economic forecasts since the conflict between U.S., Israeli, and Iranian forces began in late February. This week, a raft of economic data has shown that the conflict has helped to drive inflation even higher. Data published by the Office for National Statistics, ONS, on Wednesday showed that UK Consumer Prices Index CPI inflation rose to 3.3% in March, a 3-month high on the back of accelerating fuel prices. The price of motor fuels jumped by 8.7% month-on-month, the largest increase since June 2022. as disruption to oil production and transportation drove diesel and petrol prices even higher. Four Palestinians, including a woman, were killed by Israeli fire in the Gaza Strip, while medical evacuations of the wounded and sick continued through the Rafah border crossing with Egypt. Eyewitnesses and local sources told Xinhua an Israeli drone fired a missile at a group of Palestinians in the Al Zaytun neighborhood south of Gaza City, killing 3 people. In a separate incident, a 40-year-old woman was killed south of Khan Yunis, southern Gaza. Said Mahmoud Basal, spokesperson for civil defense in Gaza, says. Witnesses reports that Israeli military vehicles opened fire towards tents housing displaced persons in the area. There was no immediate comment from the Israeli side. Tensions persist in Gaza despite a fragile ceasefire, with sporadic incidents of violence reported amid stalled implementation of the agreement and continued disputes over humanitarian aid delivery and military withdrawal. Gaza-based health authorities says in a daily update that hospitals received 2 bodies and treated 11 injured people over the past 24 hours, bringing the total number of deaths since October 10th to 811, with 2,278 wounded. The overall death toll since October 2023 has risen to 72,587, with 172,381 injured, and this does not include those who are classified as missing and those buried under the rubble. Back in Malaysia, police have placed a local man on the special circular list to prevent him from fleeing the country following a petition regarding the azan at a surau in Ampang, Kuala Lumpur. Selangor's police chief, Datuk Shazili Kahar, says the measure followed reports lodged by residents and the surau committee members.
Setakat ini, suspek masih belum ditangkap, tetapi telah dibuat senarai penggeliling khas untuk memastikan beliau tidak terlepas keluar daripada Malaysia lah. So, usaha sedang dijalankan untuk mengesan dan buat tangkapan ke atas suspek. Apabila didaftarkan di bawah senarai penggeliling khas ni, mereka akan menghadapi kesukaran untuk keluar negara lah, sebab semua nama beliau telah didaftarkan di lapangan-lapangan terbang. Sekiranya ada, mereka akan dibuat tangkapan lah.
The case is being investigated under Section 4(1) of the Sedition Act and Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act. Police have recorded statements from the public, including representatives of the local community who are affected by the issue. The issue sparked following police reports lodged at the Pandan Indah police station on Friday, when a man protested against the management of the surau that involves the azan, congregational prayers, and the utilization of the surau's outdoor space. The man claims the azan disrupts his peace while demanding that congregational prayers must be banned immediately. Wrapping up the Nightline, the 2026 Malaysia Games, or SUKMA, will go ahead following the consent of the Sultan of Selangor, Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah, who has decreed that the event be organised prudently. The approval came after His Majesty granted an audience to Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim on April 23rd to discuss the status of the biennial games. Youth and Sports Minister Dr. Muhammad Taufik Johari expressed his deepest gratitude for the royal consent, while also thanking the Prime Minister for prioritising athletes.
He adds that SUKMA 2026 serves as a key platform for talent selection and preparation ahead of the 2027 SEA Games, which Malaysia is set to host. Discussions has been held with Selangor Menteri Besar Amiruddin Syari to coordinate preparations and execution of the Games. SUKMA 2026, scheduled to take place in Selangor from August 15 to 24, had previously sparked debate over possible postponement due to global economic pressures and rising organizational costs. However, the decision to proceed is seen as crucial in ensuring the continued development of the nation's young athletes remains on track.
And those were the updates on tonight's TVS Nightline. I'm Yusuf Shukri. Thank you for watching. Assalamualaikum.